Second.
Make a motion to open the meeting.
Second.
All right, we're open.
Okay.
Guess I can get off Facebook now. So, Chip was talking to me about the possibility of some grants that are available, so he was going to continue that conversation. You want to tell them what the grant was that you found?
Well, there's a couple of grants, but the one that I found is the Rural Community Development Initiative Grant, which is one of the things it does is for strategic plan development.
Okay.
It's pretty much what a comprehensive plan is.
Comes from the state or from the feds?
USDA Rural Development.
Okay.
So can we get
Is there any
without a comprehensive?
is there any specifics attached to it because it's from the USDA? Meaning it's only because it's USDA is is agriculture, right?
Huh?
USDA is in agriculture.
Yeah, rural development is really what a lot of times what they do is what
Okay,
they need.
all right. Well, I'm saying that because if there's some.
So what this is doing is it's who can apply as public bodies, nonprofits, and federally recognized tribes.
Yeah.
Eligible area is rural area. So it's any area other than a city or town that has a population of greater than 50,000 inhabitants. And two, the urbanized area contiguous and adjacent to such city or town. So, I'm saying, we fit.
What's Sanford then?
I don't think they're 50,000.
Okay, all right.
And again, it does rural community development initiative grants may be used for, but are not limited to. And then it provides a bunch of things, and one of those is strategic plan development. So,
and how much is this grant?
Minimum $50,000.
So they would cover. Because didn't he say it was like 30 grand?
Maximum is 250.
Didn't
It depends on how much they have to do.
I know, but didn't he throw out 30
He
grand?
didn't throw me a number at all.
Oh, okay, all right.
It is competitive, and it is a matching.
Okay. So what we throw in they match. Okay.
So, that's just the basics.
Mm-hmm.
I got a guy's name. I mean, there's, like I said, there's a bunch of USDA ones. There's rural business development grants. Again, same thing. Same requirements, and it must be used on projects that benefit small and emerging businesses in the rural area. Specified grant include community economic development, feasibility studies and business plans. Long-term business strategic planning. So all of which a comprehensive plan could probably fit into.
Yeah, and then that one too, we can put it out there that we're going for it, and then we can so that we can feed it to our some of the smaller groups.
Those are what they call the enterprise type grants, and then you have opportunity type grants. Must be used for projects in rural areas. Again, community economic development, feasibility studies and business plans. Rural business incubators, long-term business strategic planning. So, and again, I got another guy's got a guy's name for that because that's done by the state.
Is that one the one you mentioned there with the they could possibly feed off to companies in this. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's feed off to companies in the town.
Huh?
It sounds like there's benefits it can throw off to different companies in the town. The way you read it off, it sounded like
towns, communities, who can include towns, state agencies, authorities, nonprofits, higher education. It's not business.
It sounded like it could thrown off. It sounded like for growth. I thought you said growth or something like that in there. No, okay.
Just the name of it.
Yeah, it was something in there. Something in there sounded like that. We could. It is like something we can say. Here we have this benefit package that we can, that the companies in town can apply for it and we can help them grow their companies. That's
No,
part of that's what it sounded like, so.
no, the only thing I can think of is you might have heard rural business incubators.
Okay. That's
So,
like a
that's-
marketing thing, yeah.
Huh?
That's like,
No,
never
it's
mind.
nothing to do with chickens.
No, I said marketing.
Oh, okay.
Get coffee in my nose.
So anyway, the other grant was the recreation department grant. You said there was a
No, there's another one here that's
Yeah.
for community centers.
Oh yeah, community center.
Oh.
So which actually is open right now. It's a community facilities direct loan and grant. And again, it's just but again, we're talking about a community center or
For the old town hall.
that might be a way to get some
Some
funding
stuff done
for
there,
it.
yeah.
Again, it's just
That second one you read though, can I see that paper or?
which one?
The second one you read
I
off,
don't know which one I read off.
the one that was questioning.
There's also an economic impact initiative grants. This one as well does community support services, community centers, fairgrounds, transitional housing. So this does
Community center too.
That's kind of
grants
weird.
up to 75% of eligible project costs based on need and funding.
Where did they put those two together?
So
Where did they put community housing together with fairgrounds?
Is community
it's
development.
an economic impact.
Oh,
So it's an economic impact.
how it comes back to the town, okay.
And this is for rural areas with no more than 20,000 residents. They have a not employed rate greater than 19.5%. So that one may not fit. I don't know what our not employed rate is.
Everybody gotta quit their job and stay home.
Well, I don't even know whether they look at seniors. I mean, it's a lot of seniors that are retired, whether they're considered not employed. I don't know.
You don't
But
get
it's just
that
this-
information till the census, so I wonder if they would go off the 2000.
Well, and again, it's just the point that there's a bunch of grants out there, and there's private foundations that may fund it as well. You never know.
Mhm.
But it's just it's something to think about if we can't. I mean, I guess my thoughts is that if we can't get a group together to get this thing done, then I think the town or us or somebody needs to seriously think about finding a way to get it done outside. Because it just doesn't make sense to every couple of years put together a committee for 6 months of work to spend their
And they only stick around for a couple weeks,
and
yeah.
then nothing happens, and then you do another iteration and nothing happens, and it just doesn't.
How do we go move forward? The people who have not shown up, how do we remove them or unappoint them or whatever you do?
It's not really that, it's just that we gotta figure out, we gotta
I'm
do what
talking
we
about
do.
because they were sworn in and everything.
Well,
You weren't sure about that.
it doesn't really matter.
yeah, that's what I'm
To be
thinking.
honest, in the big picture, if we're gonna continue, there may be a point where they may wanna come back in. We're not limited by size, so having them on the books, so to speak, doesn't really hurt us. Obviously, I wouldn't necessarily count on them coming to meetings or getting certain work done, but you never know where they might be able to. I don't know whether it's a seasonal thing right now during the winter, whether that's the issue or whether it's I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know where they are in their inventories because I've sent out several messages asking
So,
them.
I mean, the thing is that to do these things right, I know they talk about getting a big group together because you want all your different stakeholders, because the more they're involved, the better the chance it passes and all that kind of thing. Well, if you can't get people involved, then does that mean that this doesn't happen? I mean, or do you go with a small group? Again, I think our survey was tremendously successful. And we got a huge turn back. I mean, I'm already referencing it in stuff that we do. Yeah.
No, my feeling is that, okay, yes, they're volunteers. So if they're not showing up, that's fine. But it doesn't give us a cause or reason just to dissolve altogether. I say carry on, do what we have, continue with what we have put together, information I put together, information, any of the stuff that we've worked on already, carry on with that. Not ignoring the fact they're not here or stuff like that. Maybe, but finish what we've done, and then if give them one more chance to say, okay, we're done with what we're doing. Come back. If you're not coming back, then we're going to say that there's nothing. If you have any information, provide it to us, please, and then we move on with what categories they're supposed to handle. But I say carry on with what we're doing. We don't have to divide it. Say okay, well, the recreational part and that the two girls were taken care of, and some of the other stuff. I'm not saying like ignore it or anything like that. I'm saying that well, let's concentrate on what we've already agreed to do. Finish that, and then after that, then we'll. If they don't come back, then we go, okay, well then we'll pick those pieces and we'll carry on. We'll carry the load. I don't think that we should just give up, because that's what they've done before. They've done it like 2 or 3 times, and they say, oh well, no one's showing up for meetings. Let's give up. I said, let's not surrender. Let's carry on, and then just pick up the pieces where they lay.
Okay.
So, your part that you were doing, your real estate and
housing and land use.
Do you have yours all done?
Done.
Do you have yours all done? The one that you were doing?
Parks, natural resources.
Mine is all done, ready to go.
I'm not all done because it's mine's pretty big.
Well, yeah, I have all my information. I have to put it into the same because I was kind of copying Freiberg, so I have to just type it out into that.
So yours is all written out.
You just have to format it.
Mine's ready.
Formatting is one thing. Yeah, that's not a problem.
I have all my information.
As long as you got your information gathered there.
Got it.
So here was my question: is that why don't, if we decide to move on with this, why don't we all plan to have our stuff ready? Which ones we have ready for next meeting? We can put them all on the table. We can all take copies of them, look them over, and see if there's any changes. And then in February, the next meeting would be February, I guess. But in March, if we don't have a showing because the weather should be nicer, we can just
divvy up what they had.
I just think I'm tired of sitting on mine. It's been done since November, and I come and there's really nothing to do because nobody shows up. So, I mean, I would just as soon put mine on the table and give it to all of you to look at and mark up and whatever you want to do with it, and then pick another topic.
Yeah. A couple of suggestions from me. One is that we call people. As opposed to emailing them.
You talking about members?
I have some.
You're talking about the members, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I did hear from Mel and Peggy tonight, and they weren't coming because of the weather.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Just so you
Well,
know.
I fear Peggy. I trust Peggy's doing stuff because I know Peggy from the other committees, the other committee, and and I trust that she's doing stuff. It's just like I said. She gets I fear maybe she's getting overwhelmed or whatever. I don't know, but I don't know what she's doing with Mel. I don't know, but like I said, yeah, I figure that's why I figured like maybe come March or whatever, like you said, maybe they'll have something to present.
Right, so that's why I'm thinking March when the weather breaks. I'm
Anyway,
sorry, go ahead, sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Point was one, call them as opposed to emailing them, because some people don't, me included, don't pay much attention to their email. And ask if, tell them one, that the survey was a great success. Wanted to share that, and ask, are they planning on coming back, or do they have anything that they, would like to share, that we might go pick up if they're not planning on coming back. And the second thing that would be helpful for me is to sort of team up with somebody else on my project. Not that it's big or anything, but I know I don't do anything until a few days before the meeting, and so if there was I had a weekly meeting with somebody else, and we're both trying to support each other on the project or inventory that we're doing, that would be helpful to me.
Helps you not procrastinate.
And I agree with this sense that we do what we can. I would think even if we never do get everything covered, and it came to hiring somebody from the outside, that what we've done would still be useful. So.
What do you think?
I mean, I'm certainly open to that. I mean, I agree. No, I mean, maybe it's just us 5 that get it done. It just means more work for everybody else, as long as everybody else is committed to more work, not less. Because that's ultimately what's going to happen, because whether some of that work is done or not, we'll see. I bet you the farm stuff is probably gonna get taken care of.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah, I bet you.
I kind of have that feeling too. Yeah.
I bet you that will probably get taken care of. So again, it's.
Because he seemed to put a lot of work into it already.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine soldiering through. I guess. My biggest feeling and since this looks like this is the core group, I really want a commitment that if we're gonna soldier through, that we're gonna see it to the end. Because I don't wanna spend all my time going through all this crap, you know what I'm saying, to find out in 6 months later, okay, we got inventories done, but we're not gonna do the second stage, and now it just gets put in a bag for the next group 2 or 3 years down the road, and my work is basically, will they use it? They may not. Does it get lost? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't wanna.
Does it become
my time is way too valuable already. So
Are you saying you're busy?
So I just don't wanna, I mean, I'm sure everybody else's time is valuable, but that's my point I just don't wanna.
To waste your time, yeah.
I don't wanna continue, but if we're committed, then I'm committed. I mean, I'm so that's just kind of my.
I agree with you. Because commitment's been lacking from everybody. And I'm not going to call people because I made it clear on the first set of meetings that our form of communication would be email. And people have communicated back to me via email, every single person on the committee. So if somebody else wants to make those calls, you can, but I'm not about to beg people to be on the committee and give me their information, because I've sent about a dozen emails that most people haven't responded to. Since you know that that's the biggest form of communication, you should be checking the email if you want the information, because that's how I'm going to send it. And like I said, my section, land use and housing, I have all the information. I need to put it into the format. I don't mind taking on another section and working on it. How do you guys? And you guys don't mind taking on another
I don't
section?
mind.
Once
I'm
I
ready to
once
go.
I
I'm
finish
ready for
mine,
another
yeah.
one
Once
now.
I finish it, yeah. I mean, I don't really want to take on two at the same time,
No,
but
because
yeah.
nobody has time.
Yeah, no, I think one at a time
They're
is
big
good.
That's what I'm saying,
sections.
and that way you can focus. That's the thing. You got to maintain focus. So
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna do two at a time, one at a time, but, and no matter how long it takes me, get just one at a time and get them done
Yeah.
and, you know.
So we have a couple things that we need to vote on then.
Okay.
Number one is if we're gonna stay for the long haul. And number two, if we're gonna be committed to staying for the long haul and taking on more categories.
I think
Whether they come
I think
back or
our
not, we need to
yeah
get 'em done.
I think our presence here speaks for the fact that we're here for the long haul. Like I said, it's just whether or not the other people come back. That's the thing.
Could we sort of set up a goal, you know, as a way to measure whether we're gonna
Like a
make
timeline?
progress or not?
Like a timeline
Yeah,
thing.
like in, let's say, I don't know, shooting off from the hip, but, by the time of the next meeting, we'll all have our sections done.
Our original
I will not have mine done.
What's your topic?
The economics section. I mean, that's a pretty big
And
section.
do you need to talk to anybody at the town hall for any of the information that you need?
Well, some of the information I asked from Jordan, because because part of it has to do with land use. You know what lands are there for already out there for already village held. I part of my thing is what properties are already village, because it's future economic growth. So what growth is there? I have to know where all the village properties are. Village held.
Village?
Yeah, all the village held properties.
In the town owned property?
Well, village town, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, well, there's a village, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
That's
yeah.
I was
I'm saying-
confused 'cause I didn't know.
So I'm saying, I asked Jordan for a list of the property, and then I put it into the map. You know, which
all the town properties?
yes, so that I can figure out where, if you know, for economic growth, you know, where things can expand. Because part of it is I'm also going to look at current farmlands and
So
stuff.
you're trying to find out where town-owned property is, not privately held?
Where town held as, yes,
Why-
because
Why would you want town held?
town has several 100,000, you know, whatever acreage of property.
How about this?
That's not public. That's not private owned. So I would like to know where that is. That's
The public property?
yes.
But how is that economic development?
It's where growth can occur.
Says who?
Says common sense.
Only if the
to me.
voters choose to put something.
No. I'm talking about that if you know, okay, because
I don't understand growth. I mean,
because
you know,
I can look up I can grab company, you know, I can grab companies and grab people that have companies. I can grab what properties they own off the town's list. But the town's list does not include, you know, on the tax rolls that I can grab off the, you know, from the PDF file and stuff like that. But I cannot grab, because I can do a search for an address. You know, okay, so I know this person owns a farm, so I can search by their name or by their address and come up with a lot number.
I think you will find, okay.
But I cannot. But that leaves blanks. Is okay. So I can kind of presume that the rest is more residential territory, but I cannot pick up what the town properties are. There'll be blanks in that map. So that's why I was asking for that
Yeah,
info.
I mean, I guess.
And because they own, because the town does own acreage, a lot of acreage. They have that parkland up there, and they have, you know.
That's about it. That's the best.
Oh, that's it. I'll say, because from what
That's the biggest tract.
from what I got from other things. Well, I know they own the old town hall and they own the schools and stuff like
Right,
that.
that's not.
But I'm saying though, it's like it just gets, because they're not included in tax in the documents that that's
Right.
public.
Right.
So
I guess my point is economic growth is not going to come from town-owned land.
no, it doesn't, but it excludes it.
I'm confused why you need this information, because when I look at the guide for the local economy, it doesn't have anything to do with town-owned property.
Because I'm not going about it like that necessarily. I'm like I said, I'm looking at possible economic zoning and stuff like that. So, all along 202. Does the town own any property along 202?
Yep.
Yeah, a couple.
Well, that tells me know whether or not, what, I'm saying. When then that's excluded from the commercial growth, any commercial growth zones.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Is that by the next meeting, we all provide what we have.
Yeah.
If you can finish it, good. Or if you can't, you provide what you have and ideally a list of what you think you need, what's missing. And we try to help each other on, either if more needs to be added or things are not, we decide aren't necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess to your point, I think it's, and it may be helpful that, and I'll probably even do it with mine, but as far as if you've got a chapter, a chapter, you do some sort of an outline. So you kind of have the bigger areas that you're gonna do and the information that you still need to collect, or if you already have it. So you can kind of, even if you haven't put it all together, if you have an outline that says, I've got this section and I'm gonna have these 5 focus areas in this section, and I've got 1, 3, 4, and 5, but I still need to work on 2, or I need information, that type of thing. I think that helps.
It might turn out that we say, whoa, we don't think you need to go to that detail.
Or you don't even need that section,
Or you don't even need that
right,
section.
right.
Or maybe, I'll bring my 3-page thing in and people will say, oh, we kind of think you need a little more.
Yep, no, it's just, I'm just thinking that.
You still use Freiburg as a guide, because it's short, sweet.
No, I agree. I mean, I've basically,
And
I've taken some of the Freiburg stuff and like that natural resources, and now I just want to kind of plug in,
Right.
my data into that type of a format, and so that's I would agree that that's the format.
Yeah.
Would be best to do.
Sure.
Especially at this stage, is
So-
cloning it with our information, but the format of their plan.
So we could look at the next meeting as, the first time we get a concrete, this is what each one of us has.
Yeah, we have a focus group, and even if we do an outline for the entire plan, and we'll just start with the 5 of us where we can do, and the ones that we know other people have done some stuff, we can hold those off. Because we may be able to pull some information that they're back still, they may have some information, so we don't have to, it's fine.
Okay. Is that agreeable?
Yeah, I mean, back to your thing about a motion, I don't know whether we need a motion or not. I mean, is everybody committed to the end on this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am. I wanna see it done. I think it would benefit the town greatly to have a comprehensive plan. I mean, I've heard it, believe me, more times than I wanna hear it sometimes. In every single other meeting in this town, we have people that will go, comprehensive plan, and they're not here.
Well, everybody wants it, but nobody wants
Yeah,
to do it.
nobody wants to do it, so.
So,
I'll be willing to call people that haven't come. And
sure, I'll email everybody the phone list that I have,
Yeah, I mean, I
because I'm not gonna.
I mean,
call.
I'm just not sure that constantly calling them is.
no, I
Constantly calling, maybe gonna do it, but if to say.
I understand Sarah's concern. I understand your concern as well, and some people respond better to a phone call than they do to the email, but Sarah shouldn't have to babysit people to check your email. I mean, if you're on the committee and all
Yeah.
this stuff is,
Yeah, we shouldn't have to micromanage.
or don't give out an email at all and say, the only way you can get a hold of me is through the phone.
Yeah. Well,
But so I mean, certainly, if you're willing to do it, then.
and I'm not willing to constantly do it.
just,
Are you willing to do something else besides, oh, I forgot, there's a meeting tonight?
no, it's just a matter of, I just think, where's their head at? Where's their head at? Do they still wanna be part of this and they just don't have the time yet, or, you know, just
And
kind of.
You probably can,
Feel them out.
and plus when you talk to them personally, you can get a more feel that whether or not they're just hemming and hawing because they're too polite to say, I don't wanna do it anymore.
Well, telling me via email is easier because you're not face to face. So why didn't they send me an email?
Because,
like, hey, yeah, no, I'm
because,
not gonna do this anymore.
because denying it totally is a lot easier. Putting it off till, procrastination is the easiest.
So when do we wanna do the next meeting?
2 weeks.
2 weeks is good for me. Okay.
So far,
So today is what?
February 6th.
Today's February 6th.
you're
No,
gonna,
no. I'm looking at my calendar.
are you gonna
2
recover?
weeks
Are you
is
gonna
February
are you gonna
6th.
recover from the Super Bowl by then?
That sounds good to me.
Super Bowl is. I'm so busy. I didn't even watch the
Probably
playoff
on the-
games.
I don't want to. Well, I don't care about the freaking Patriots anyway, so that's my point.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, they're cheaters and they suck.
Oh God.
They've cheated since Belichick came from the Jets.
Who cheated?
Belichick,
Mm-hmm.
when he dropped his contract with the Jets back then.
Oh, okay. Sure. Whatever.
He had a contract with the Jets, and he says, "Oh no, I got more money from the from
All right, so
Patriots."
Tuesday, February 6th at 6:30, comprehensive plan meeting.
6:30 still work for everybody, since this is the core group?
Yeah.
Do we wanna do a different time? Do we wanna do it earlier? Do we wanna do it?
6:30 's
I
fine.
like 6:30 better than 6:00. 6:00 I'm struggling to get him fed and get over here, but 6:30 works good for me.
Okay.
Okay,
6:30 it is.
so have your inventory
6:30.
as completed as possible.
I would still send the invitation out to everybody.
Yeah.
If somebody,
Going based on that group that you created.
if somebody shows up, then great.
Right.
If they don't, again, it's just the core 5 and we'll carry on.
And we get the numbers, and we call them, and we can urge them that.
Maybe we ought to do
This
like
is-
the
this
all
is
for one,
it.
one for
This
all.
is it.
You know.
I'll do the call.
Yeah, I'm saying, if we get the number and we call
So my check
beforehand,
on my
just urge that
No.
this is a meeting that will determine whether or not you are still in it.
Is there, one other thought is that we may want to, just something to think about is that, Lee, something.
Oswald.
Jay-
BJ.
Thank you.
No, I call him Jay Lee.
I'm like thinking Oswald. No, this ain't going the right place.
Do we want? I guess what I'm wondering is, how can we get him involved for the least cost or the most bang for the buck at some point during this process? And the reason I say that is let's say for $5,000, he could do a section that would be really, really hard for us, or something that would be really, really hard for us to do, but it's in his wheelhouse. He does it all the time.
Right.
So we could get a really big bang for our buck for that $5,000. That would be nice to know for the June vote, so that I can maybe put that on the referendum.
Okay, I can reach out to him
Or-
again, but basically when I did talk to him, he needed to know what we needed done. So he needed to know where we were, which is why I sent out those messages saying, tell me what you got done, because they charge you by time. So they kind of come up with an idea of how much time it's going to take them to complete it, and then that's how they send out. So if
Yeah,
we
I
can
mean,
determine
but we're different.
what.
We are definitely.
I'm not thinking like necessary. They don't. They know.
That's what he said to me. So
No,
basically,
I know, I hear that. I'm just thinking that he knows the whole process.
yeah. So basically, what we need to go to him with is say, hey, this is the section that we would like you to do. So we need to tell him what we need.
No, I'm thinking about after the inventory.
Right.
So I'm thinking we can get the inventories done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
They may
we
not
just
be
need to
as
tell
good as
him.
if they did them, but I think we can struggle through the inventories.
Yeah. So we just need to tell him what we want,
Right. I think the
And then he'll
projection,
tell
the future
me
projection.
what it would be.
Right.
So I just have to tell him what it is that we want.
I really.
I know, but
really-
that's my point. Is I'm not sure we know what we want.
I don't think we do.
Well, I do.
Do you think we need more of a coaching?
You want him to do the future projection.
I
Well,
think.
it's that next. It's the strategy.
Right.
It's the strategy part that I think
Do you
That's
think we
where I
need,
think we
do you
need
think we need coaching from him?
No,
No.
not yet, no.
Not yet, I mean,
No.
not, I mean, after the,
Never mind.
No, I'm thinking it's the strategy part, it's the tactical part, it's the planning part.
Right.
We're just doing the inventory. We did a survey, we can do another preference. So that was a big picture, we can then do a preference survey, so we can probably do that again. You know, we can do that whether it be at the ballot or some other way to, I mean, that ended up being
The
a
ballot
good,
goes a good
ended up
turnout.
being a good way to do it.
But that may not be it's not until June this year, right?
Right,
So that
Well,
gives us till June to
but if we-
complete our inventories.
that's right. That's right.
And then
And
move on
come up
with
with
that,
a preference survey.
yeah. And come up with a
Which maybe-
preference. But you know that once we got going on that preference survey, I don't think it was as difficult to come up with questions as we all feared it would be. And I think looking at other people's preference surveys and like Chip pulled a couple and he found all those questions, we all talked about them and we had a list. I mean, basically in one meeting, when it had been like 4 meetings, we were all arguing about them. So I think if we just look at other people's surveys and pull from that and make a preference survey, I really think that was the better way to do it rather than go home and write 5 questions, cause
Yeah,
That was
I
all over
agree.
the board.
I think it was easier just to look them up and get ideas from.
I think it's that
everybody
section
else's
2, it's that book 2 that's the one, you know, there's 2 parts.
Mhm.
It's that second part, I think is gonna be the part that
We need help.
we probably could use some help with, and again, I don't know to what degree, I don't know. But that's, you know.
So why don't we get through the inventories and then see what we have to do and then discuss it at that point? Because I think we're putting the cart before the horse.
Right, but the reason I wanna put the cart before the horse is because it's budget season, and if it's gonna be a money item, I gotta get it before the budget committee,
Okay.
'cause they vote on it.
When do you need to,
soon.
By the end of March, probably. I need to
Okay.
know what that number is.
can you deal with an estimate from him?
No, you have to ask.
I'm asking for a specific amount.
So
And
really.
I don't even know if it's in the ballpark, I mean, again, if it's 20 grand, I don't think that's gonna pass.
Yeah, cause
I
he
don't-
said, I think, well,
But 5 grand, I think would pass if we actually thought we could get a good bang for the bucks. I don't wanna just waste 5 grand, but if I think we can get, so that's what I'm asking, and that's why it's kind of that's why I say we're different, because it's not
Well,
your
here's
typical.
some pricing
really,
in this book
Can
from.
I just answer that
Yeah.
for a second? I think really that's on the right track, because if you ask people for 5,000 and you show them this is where we've gotten for 5,000 and you show them that you're working on it and you're dedicated to it, and then if it winds up costing 7, it's easy to go back and ask them for the other 2 that you need to complete it when you've used their $5,000 to a good gain. And you can show them, this is where we are with your 5,000, this is how we spent it, and this is where we are. We need another 2,000 to complete it, rather than going to them and going like, yeah, give us 20 grand, when it shouldn't cost that much, so. That's I would vote that way, I would vote for the 5,000 to go to that, and then if you needed more, I just think it's an easier way to go to people with small dollar amounts, that rather than this huge thing when they've got the bridge and all that other stuff coming up on their
No,
ballot.
I don't know I'm not sure if I can get anything with them, that's why.
Well, I can tell you, in 2014, when Corinna reached out for phase 3 goals and policies, was $6,000 to $8,000. So I'll send this to him, and I'll ask him if the pricing is the same, if it's increased, because time has gone by, so chances are it's more.
And if there's some way we could help to defray that cost with this group, but letting him do a lot of the heavy lifting, but we can maybe do some of the light lifting.
Okay.
Because that was probably handing it to him and letting him do all of it, but again, if we have a core group here, and he knows it's a core group that we've gone through this whole thing, then I think he might be much more willing to let us do some of the easy lifting.
Okay. Because they, if we can get the inventories done, that was $10,000 to $12,000 in itself, just for the inventories.
Right.
And then for the surveys and the visioning workshops, the public meetings we're supposed to have, they charge $3 grand for that. So if all we need them to do is phase 3, and they'll also do mapping.
Can
I thought we're getting some mapping
I'm
from,
just reading
Can I
the
ask
information
okay,
right now.
I know that you guys were
cause I
talking.
thought there were some,
at one
the
of
grants
your
they were
meetings
gonna apply to that.
doing some public
But I'm just telling them what
information
happened.
Yeah.
meetings on something that you're planning to do. I know-
No, the only public information that we've talked about, I think, if my memory serves me, was a possible police force.
Yes, and you said you might have to have a couple of them to have that discussion. Laura said she would just as soon have a few of them so that other people can come in.
Right, that would be,
So I'm wondering if we could tie that into kind of a visioning. I mean, it is a vision for the future to have law enforcement. If we could somehow
Piggyback.
make it twofold and do discussion about a police and then ask like, well, what do you feel about this? Or where do you feel we should go with that, you know?
She wants to piggyback that meeting.
I do, on a ride.
well, so one.
She wants to piggyback on the pigs. Is that what you're saying?
For one, I, at this point, I have no idea if that meeting is gonna even happen. So
Did you end up having your meeting with the sheriff's department?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to watch the video.
Yeah, I gotta find
It's
time for
eye-opening.
Which is, it's eye-opening, which is what I say,
that. Okay, I'll watch it.
It's just not,
What's eye opening about it?
Watch the meeting.
Right,
No,
right.
I watched. I
Just
heard.
watch the video.
I read the summary. I don't know.
I'm not sure it's cost effective,
Yeah.
so I just don't,
Oh.
I don't think the people want us to spend $800,000 for police.
No,
That was just for contracting?
yeah.
Well, we were talking about contracting 3 police, but basically in the discussion, it was realized by most everybody there that that would be no better than what we already have for free with the Maine State Police.
Really?
Really?
So why would we spend $400,000
For no better coverage.
for something that we're getting for free? To me, that makes absolutely no sense in the world.
Would state
Now,
police
I
coverage
don't
go
I don't
away?
argue that we probably shouldn't be getting it for free. But-
Much.
You know, I don't argue that it probably shouldn't be for free, but it is. So
That's amazing.
so I mean, so yeah, I'm
I'm gonna
not
have to
gonna.
watch the meeting, cause I need to
It's
know
just-
what you mean
yeah.
by that, by 3 people
What
not
date?
being
What
any
date
better
was
than
that meeting?
1.
Well, it's not one. It's just how you figure it out. So you watch.
Yeah, I
watch
watched
the-
I'll
the
watch
meeting.
it.
What meeting was that? What date?
I don't know. It's on YouTube. I don't remember.
Yeah, but you don't list what the
Yeah,
meetings are.
Yeah,
On
Okay.
my page, you find it. I write the whole thing out.
Yeah, and then she'll say, if you go to minute such and such, that's
Yeah.
when they start to talk
No, I'm saying
about
yeah.
it.
if I look at the Yahoo page, it
I
doesn't.
have been listing descriptions in the.
It says it's Lebanon meetings when I looked at it.
But anyways, so that's why I don't know whether those meetings are gonna happen.
Okay, so we don't know if we can piggyback a public meeting, and we're
And-
not even close to doing
And I'm not
it.
even sure if we wanna piggyback on those, to be honest with you. You're getting a
Because
totally
it's the
different,
volatile
you're getting a totally
issue.
different group. And now you're doing a visionary on a specific subset,
Yeah,
which is probably not right.
And plus it's
Okay.
probably gonna be it'd be a volatile meeting too.
Demographics That's going to those meetings.
that'll be volatile, the marijuana.
Right.
meeting.
True.
They're not going for
Money, it's volatile.
That's true.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
They may be fine, but I just,
The cop meeting
Well,
would be
a lot,
volatile because
because
of
a
money.
lot of people want to be, so we might get, but they tend to be angry either way. They're either angry that we're
So-
thinking of it, or they're angry
So I'll
that we're
send him
not,
this.
so.
And I'll just see if he can update the pricing
Not your
structure
best
for us
visioning.
on
and then
this.
the
You're
phase 3, whether, that could be defrayed some with
Additional support by us.
so support by a core group.
So we probably should start looking at a date too, and not today, but we probably should start looking at a date when we could have one of those visioning meetings.
And then I would ask, the only other thing I would ask him is if he could draw out, I don't know how detailed that part is there, what he does during phase 3. But
You want me to read it?
kind of, how long is it?
It's a paragraph.
Yeah, if you could maybe glorify it a little bit to make it look like we're getting.
Something to
I'm
present.
selling, we need to sell this, so a paragraph, I'm not sure sells it, but maybe it does, I haven't read the paragraph, but.
So, I mean, if I have to go door to door with those surveys and get people that are coming. I don't even care, you know me, I'll knock on any door, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, the
We're not gonna put
the
you door, I know I am.
visionary stuff, I have no idea, I don't, this town is so hard for that. You know, I remember he was holding his quarterly or semi, you know, and he did that the first couple times, and then, you know, 5 people would show up and
Nobody's gonna come.
boom, nobody, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, we could plan to do all these great visionary
Same
things.
35 people that come to every town
You
meeting.
know, I don't, and I'm not even sure they would
Not
come to
joking.
those.
No, you're not, I've been here a long
Okay.
time.
This is all of you. I just,
Well, it all depends, if you say pot,
I don't know.
it's
I
a
think
whole nother,
you're right,
you know,
because I
and
think
if
we
you
had
say police,
63 people at those
Yeah.
meetings.
yeah, it all depends on the head topic,
So,
which
yeah,
which
but
group you get.
we'll get there when we get there. You know, our focus right now is inventories, but like I said, that the cost part, and if we wanna put it on the ballot, that's why I need to do that now. I can't wait.
I'm gonna email him right now.
We have a little time, but yeah, that's.
Summaries, as a side topic, summaries from the polls. Did you ever release that information?
No, because we haven't had a quorum until now, today's the first day we had a quorum.
Yeah, we got them all entered in, we finally got them all entered in, I believe, right?
Yes, we did.
Interesting, I got.
Can you send out the data via the emails?
I literally got one, well, we kind of went through it in that one meeting, I think.
Yeah, I kind of I watched that meeting and I got lost in it.
I got one.
Because everyone goes, well, look at your menu. Look at the paperwork. And like everyone's looking at the paperwork. I can't see the paperwork.
You want me to take it home and put it in, or you wanna do it?
It's only one thing to put in. So do you support the need for long-term planning was a yes. And then number 2 was, what is the one thing you would like? Road repair. So, for Upper Mill Road, which we heard about, and that was it. No, actually we had the one on the back we had.
Upper Middle, isn't that
Oops.
dirt road?
No, senior citizens, the biggest challenge was senior services. And that was, nothing was filled in there, natural environment. Yeah, if you wanna put in, go ahead.
So basically only 2 side comments besides the answers that came off the poll.
Huh?
Only 2 side comments that came out besides what was on the poll.
Only 2 answers at all, I think.
Well, we had
On this,
someone said there was 300 responses.
Oh,
Over
on
300. I
this
thought we had
400
300 responses.
400 and something.
what would mean 2 side comments? I'm lost.
Well, you said something about Middle Road and the other one. It's like that
No,
sounded like side
that's
comments.
The question, the survey.
A single survey.
Okay, I sent it to
It's a
him.
single survey.
Oh, well, this one. But I mean, out of the other ones.
No, there's tons of comments.
Well, that's why I was wondering
400
where the summary is. That's what I'm asking for is
Well,
a
it's not
summary.
a summary of all the comments. The comments are gonna be 400 or whatever.
Well,
Yeah, so.
it's digital, so.
Not
But,
that digital.
Huh?
Not that digital.
Right,
No, we
because
had
some
to
people
hand-
say we want a police.
Yeah, but
force.
you guys were looking at stuff in the
Excuse me,
meeting. and you
Excuse me, I'm
yeah.
answering you. Some people say we want a police force, some people say we want law enforcement, some people say we want cops. So every comment is maybe the same in structure, but it's a different comment,
Yes.
so it comes up differently.
What I'm asking though is something I can look at that I didn't see at the meeting because I couldn't see it at the meeting because I was watching online.
We'll
Well, we
get.
had one
we'll
that
get something.
we did a lot of the, we
We
tallied
have
a lot
the,
of the tallies and stuff.
Yeah, it's what we could see that he couldn't because he wasn't watching the meeting. But if you watch the meeting, I verbally say exactly what's on that paper. So we could probably make a copy on the website.
Yeah, but I gotta go back, I can go back and look.
Because we didn't have every single survey completed
Right.
when we did that. We
Right.
still had, because I handed out stacks for
Yep.
at that
Yep.
night
Right.
for everybody else to finish
Right.
inputting them. But the comment section, yes, it's digital because we had to hand type it in. So some of it we shortened because
Yeah,
some
that's
people
fine. That's
wrote,
fine.
like,
Yeah,
a
no,
whole,
that's fine. That's fine.
a
Yeah.
whole paragraph. But yes, we'll get that. We'll
The
get that.
results that you print out are not great user friendly, so what I end up having to do is I end up having to export it to Excel.
Mm-hmm.
But then even that is not user friendly, so you then have to go format your Excel spreadsheet and do all sorts of stuff, so.
You
it's not-
certainly.
So,
Just saying.
huh?
I said you should have used Survey Monkey. It's very user friendly. It's very easy.
Not for those type of things, you'd still have to print them all out. You get
Well,
you get 400
the
responses.
comments. Yeah,
That's
you
my
would.
point.
And so, I really think that we should have, when we were inputting the ones that we got, I really think that we should have said, like, if they said police department, if they said law enforcement or whatever, should have said positive police force, positive.
Categorize them.
You know,
Yeah.
right.
Categorize them, but
Right.
Well, we can go back through that information because it's all in your. It's stored for us, right?
Yeah, like in Excel, and just go back through and just.
Well, and that's what I
word.
have to do with a lot of the data, so that make it more user friendly.
Yeah.
But again, it's you can do stuff even with SurveyMonkey. It doesn't matter what you use. There's more services, but you're paying for that. You know, with SurveyMonkey, you get certain things for free, but if you want added benefits, you pay.
Yeah.
We weren't done.
I know, and this is, you're reading it off, that's where I got lost, it's like,
Yeah.
cause I can't listen to people, like, cause you have tendency to talk
Yeah.
very fast, so it's like,
Yeah. So
I'll try to get that all done for
that
next
last
meeting.
meeting, I handed out. I think we
Yeah,
still
that's
had,
what
like,
I was asking
100
for, what was handed
left.
out.
That I kind of divided
Yeah.
up between,
So
and
that
they
was-
were gonna go enter them, and I had entered like 200 and something. So we had like almost 200 left. I can't remember, something like that. But
Yeah,
they've
we
all
had
been
quite a
entered
bit.
now.
Yeah, okay.
I know I had over 200 that I put in. So, and then whatever Mel and,
And then
Peggy
some
put
people
in,
did
too.
them online themselves.
right.
We did get some people to actually log
And
on.
the link's still there. We could still be getting more.
And you did some too, didn't you input some too? Yeah, that's all.
Maybe we should give that one more push to see if we get any more.
I wouldn't go back and do the same one again, cause then you're gonna get people that they, for whatever reason,
they
don't
forget.
realize it's the same one
Not paper.
online.
Right.
But I'm
Maybe
just saying-
hey, if you didn't have an opportunity to do your
But I'm just saying, if
Survey.
they did it here at the polls, and then they think there's another online survey.
yeah, we'd have to make it clear
know.
that it's the same.
Yeah.
Even then,
I
that
would
wouldn't
just-
work on it.
I would just go with what we got for that.
We are probably fine. I mean, I think we got a big. If you think about it, I look at some of the other surveys.
Really?
Yeah, like 300,
500.
if we got 300, 400 samples, that's a good
You
sampling.
get a good. And again, you're thinking about it's coming from voters.
Right.
Those are the ones who are going to be voting for a comprehensive plan.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So while
Right.
yes, we want to get everybody else, it's really
The voters that they're gonna affect it, they're the ones that are gonna affect it.
so.
Okay, so you can work on our inventory, our own inventory. Bring it
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Use the Freiburg plan as a guide because it's short, sweet, and that's what Lee J already supplied to us. So
Right.
if they do something, they're probably using that exact format. Don't overthink your categories. Let's just get it done. And then we'll talk about those at the next meeting and talk about potentially starting the
The next one.
next survey, the preference survey.
Okay.
Because and Chip, can you just print out the results of the attitude survey for next meeting so we can just have them?
Yep.
Good? February 6th,
Good to
6:30?
go. Why is February 6th aggravating me?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I have something, but I think it's in the daytime. I hope. Well, I'll just have to cancel it.
Alright.
Okay?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Twitter.
No, I'm not